If you are over 50 and your workouts don't feel the same anymore, there's a reason for it. Most men assume the answer is to push harder, lift heavier weights, add more sets, increase intensity. That approach worked for decades. The harder you trained, the better the results seem to be. But after 50, the equation changes. Intensity is no longer the limiting factor. Recovery becomes the limiter. You don't stall because you lack discipline. You stall because your body cannot recover from what you are asking it to do. When recovery cannot keep pace with stress, progress slows quietly and small issues begin to surface. Okay, so what changed? Inflammation lingers longer than it once did. Connective tissue adapts more slowly. The nervous system does not rebound from stress the way it did in your 30s. Sleep becomes lighter and sometimes fragmented. Hormones gradually shift. None of this means you're fragile. It simply means the margin for error becomes smaller. When you were younger, you could train legs hard on Monday and feel mostly fine by Wednesday. Now, that same session may linger for several days. Joints feel stiff, energy feels slightly lower, recovery simply takes more time. Ignoring that reality is what creates unnecessary setbacks. Intensity built your base. Heavy lifts, challenging sessions, pushing through discomfort, those habits created strength. They worked because recovery capacity matched training stress. But if you continue applying the same intensity without adjusting recovery strategy, fatigue accumulates. You may not feel completely exhausted, but you feel flat. Strength plateaus, motivation dips, small aches appear. Accumulated fatigue rarely announces itself loudly. It whispers. That whisper is the early warning that your system needs adjustment, not more punishment. So plateaus are often the result of stacked stress. When progress slows, many men respond by adding more volume or more frequency. Yet growth does not happen during the workout itself. It happens afterwards. If the system never fully resets, you remain in a stress state. Chronic stress increases joint irritation, affects mood stability, and disrupts sleep. So over time, the body protects itself by limiting performance. Recognizing accumulated fatigue early keeps you in control and prevents long-term interruptions. But recovery does not mean sitting still. It means managing total stress intelligently. Walking improves circulation and joint lubrication. Light mobility work preserves range of motion. Proper hydration supports tissue repair. Adequate protein intake supports muscle maintenance, especially as muscle protein synthesis slows slightly as we age. Managing mental stress also matters. The body does not separate gym stress from life stress. It all adds together. Respecting total load is essential for long-term strength. And on a side note, I've been working on a simple protein option that fits the over 50 crowd like us. Nothing fancy, just clean, affordable, and practical. I'll share more soon. So sleep becomes one of the most powerful performance tools after 50. During sleep, inflammation decreases. Hormones regulate, muscle tissue repairs, and the nervous system calibrates or recalibrates. Poor sleep slows adaptation dramatically. Before adding another exercise or another set, evaluate sleep quality. Are you consistent with bedtime? Is your environment dark and cool? Are you allowing enough total hours? Sleep is not optional for adaptation. It is foundational. Improving sleep often restores progress without changing the workout itself. More volume rarely solves the problem now. Marathon sessions increase wear and tear more than they increase adaptation. You need sufficient stimulus, not excessive stress. Focus on controlled repetitions and strong technique. Avoid ego lifting. Leave 1 to 2 repetitions in reserve rather than grinding to failure every session. Finishing a workout feeling capable of slightly more shows discipline. Sustainability always beats exhaustion when the goal is longevity. Walking deserves more respect than it receives. A brisk walk increases blood flow, reduces stress hormones, supports fat metabolism, and maintains joint mobility without heavy mechanical load. High intensity intervals have their place, but constant high intensity builds recovery debt. Consistent low stress movement maintains progress without overwhelming the system. 30 minutes most days of the week can significantly support strength training without interfering with recovery. Planned deload weeks are strategic, not weak. Reducing volume or intensity for a week allows your system to consolidate gains. Professional athletes taper and periodize because adaptation requires fluctuation. If you never reduce load intentionally, your body eventually forces the reduction through discomfort or injury. A deliberate step back protects long-term consistency. Deloading is intelligent progression, not retreat. Training for repeatability shifts the entire mindset. Instead of asking how hard you can push today, ask whether you can repeat this effort next week without breaking down. Consistency over months and years matters more than one heroic session. Muscle is preserved through steady stimulus. Joints remain healthier when stress is controlled. Repeatability keeps you training while others cycle through injury and frustration. You're not training for a short-term transformation anymore. You are training for independence, the ability to get off the floor, the ability to carry groceries, the ability to travel confidently and more without hesitation. Recovery protects these abilities. You worked for decades to earn freedom. Freedom requires capability. Capability depends on muscle, and muscle depends on balance, stress, and recovery. So if progress feels stalled, evaluate recovery before increasing intensity. Examine sleep patterns, daily movement, stress levels, and workout structure. Train hard enough to stimulate adaptation, but recover intelligently enough to allow it. That balance sustains strength after 50. It keeps joints healthier, energy steadier, and motivation more stable. Respect recovery as much as intensity, and you will train longer, stronger, and more consistently than ever before. One of the most overlooked aspects of recovery after 50 is connective tissue health. Tendons and ligaments adapt more slowly than muscle. When you overload them too frequently without adequate spacing between sessions, irritation builds gradually. That irritation often shows up as elbow discomfort, knee stiffness, or shoulder tightness. These are not random occurrences. They're cumulative stress responses. Allowing sufficient recovery between heavy sessions gives those tissues time to strengthen rather than inflame. Nutrition also plays a larger role now than it did decades ago. Adequate protein intake supports muscle preservation. Undereating while attempting to train hard creates a mismatch between stimulus and repair. Hydration influences joint lubrication and cellular function. Simple habits such as evenly distributing protein across meals and maintaining steady hydration throughout the day can improve how you feel in training without changing the exercises themselves. Stress management becomes equally important. Financial concerns, family responsibilities, and daily obligations all activate the same stress pathways as a hard workout. I know, it's crazy. If your life stress is elevated and you continue to increase gym stress, recovery suffers. Incorporating simple stress reduction practices such as walking outdoors, controlled breathing, or maintaining a consistent routine can improve overall adaptation. Psychology shifts as well. Many men continue comparing themselves to their younger selves. That comparison can drive unnecessary intensity. The goal now is not to beat your lifetime personal record. The goal is to remain capable and independent. Shifting the focus from peak performance to long term durability removes ego from the equation and promotes smarter decisions. Consistency becomes the foundation of progress. Instead of chasing dramatic weekly gains, focus on steady maintenance and gradual refinement. Small improvements in mobility, sleep quality, and training structure accumulate over time. Those months become years. That is how longevity is built. Recovery is not lowering standards, it is raising them. It means choosing durability over short bursts of intensity. It means understanding that adaptation requires space. When you respect recovery, you gain more productive sessions, fewer interruptions, and a stronger body over time. Ultimately, training after 50 is about intelligent balance. Effort and recovery are partners. When they are balanced, adaptation occurs. When effort dominates recovery, breakdown follows. Recognizing this shift is what separates men who remain strong into their 60s and 70s from those who stop training due to avoidable injuries. If you embrace recovery as a strategic tool, workouts feel purposeful instead of punishing. Joints feel supported instead of irritated. Energy remains steadier throughout the week. Progress becomes sustainable rather than temporary. Sustainability is the true measure of strength after 50. And remember, the goal of this channel is not to slow down the clock. It's not to turn back the clock. It's to make that clock tick longer. See you in the next one.